So, when did you realize that? Oh, well, when was the moment, if you can recall, when you thought when you saw, oh, not all families are like mine.
Yeah. Well, it's like it's one of those things that's really hard to trace because I'm a big believer now and like the idea that our lives and our worldviews are shaped by the stories we tell ourselves.
Hmm.
And so I would say there was definitely a pretty strong conservative bent in my family. Like as I've grown up and kind of just been more cognizant of like worldviews and how they impact things, and just like remembering the conversations that would happen around tables and around. And so basically, meritocracy was a huge foundational piece of like my extended family worldview
Uh,
on many sides. So I knew that people were had things that were different, and that a lot of what we had was great and ideal, and a lot of that was just chalked up to, well, we had people in our family that work hard and do the right things and made wise investments, and
hmm.
so all this like the systemic background was just really blurred,
Hmm.
and so I think growing up, a lot of the way I kind of understood us having and others not was kind of through that lens of like, well, people have to, kind of make their way, and my family is where it is, and I'm going to be where I am, and we'll figure it out. And I want other people to succeed too, but this is how it is. And so it really wasn't honestly until my early 30s that the systemic background of the environmental background in which individuals are impacted and impact the environment and the systems they're a part of,
Yeah.
where I started to like that more nuanced view of the world started to take hold and realize like, okay, that doesn't mean I jettison all of this, because there is wisdom and reality to, I can impact my environment. I, as an individual, can do a lot of things. I, as an individual, have agency. I think that's really important. I hang on to that. But what also comes in and usually rushes in pretty hard if you open yourself to it is uh, for every performer, there's a background and a cast and a writer and the whole thing. I mean, like once you start to really like open your worldview up to accept that like, okay, there's these systems at play right now that none of us authored but are here. There's whole histories, like history is this amazing like bouncing ball of one thing happened to another, and here we are, we just kind of find ourselves at this point in time. And once I started to realize that, and then started to read a little bit more about race especially,
Mm.
you start I it's crushingly obvious how just
Yeah.
where people start, and the playing field being how it is not determinative
Hmm.
but incredibly impactful for how certain lives go and the stories that people believe and live into, right?
Hmm.
Including my own. And I think so that was honestly like happened very late for me.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was probably my young 30s where that really kind of came in, and a multitude of factors for that, but that was really kind of when it started.
Sure. Yeah, I definitely agreed. Your family background, I think it's sort of make or break your future. Looking back, as you were speaking, I was reflecting back on my life, my upbringing, and frankly, I think I was incredibly well off and privileged and advantaged as a you're a first generation American if you were born here,
Mhm.
right? If your parents were from another country, then you were born here, you're first generation, right? Is that how it goes?
Yeah,
Or
I
okay,
think that's how it's described. Yes.
okay, just making sure. So, as a first generation Mexican American of Mexican immigrant parents, comparing myself to other first generation Mexican Americans, I was well rich,
Hmm.
and not just I don't mean just like financially, but overall I was better off than lots of them. I remember my parents giving like drilling in my mostly my mother, and my mother really drilling in my head that education is important.
Yep.
You need to get straight A's. You need to maybe a B here and there, but mostly A's. You need to go to college. You need to do a lot better than what we did. We sacrificed so much to come here, and you really need to um, do your best here, and this country can provide you the opportunities to do your best. And if I didn't have that, I don't think I'd be where I am today. And as I was growing up, I remember meeting other families, not just Mexican American or Hispanic, but other families in general, thinking, "Oh man, I have it lucky. I'm blessed, lucky to have the family that I have because I'm not sure who I would be in their shoes, you know?"
Right.
And
Exactly.
oof, so,
Yeah, education's interesting. I think the way it's viewed, we talk about education as being this, kind of elevator in our society, and I think there's a lot of truth to that. I will say, I do feel like it raises the floor, especially if your family is kind of already created like middle class financial security.
mm,
If you can get a really good education, get that first really good job,
mm-hmm,
you pretty much are going to operate at that financial level unless we have a major economic upheaval
mm,
or addiction or things that could happen. But if you kind of stay on, the plan, it really does have that solidifying effect, And so
sure.
I do think there's a lot to that, And I'm also a big believer in education. Um, as a way of just kind of expanding people's imagination. I think that's like we talk about imagination and like a way of kind of artistry,
Mm-hmm.
but I think so much of like
It's more than that.
it's way more than that. It's like
Mm,
what you can imagine, like I think sets the limit for what you can actualize in the world. And
sure.
so I think education, just being, I'm a big fan of liberal arts education for that reason. I think we should be studying artists and philosophy, and we shouldn't just go full on into all the hard sciences only,
Mm,
because I think you need to have a population that can just kind of see the bigger picture in multicolor. And I think that matters a lot, for human flourishing and thriving. And um, yeah, I'm a big fan of education for that purpose. Obviously we also need to have skills, and you can get
sure.
those.
Yeah, basic arithmetic is.
But yeah, but wise, imaginative people
Yeah.
who have skills
Mm-hmm.
are the people that can really not only raise themselves, but like whole communities with them. And I
Sure.
think, and having the vision to do that,
Mm,
I think education is a huge piece to that. And I think a lot of people, it sounds like your parents, my parents, like saw that, like that education piece um, might be like the thing you have the most control over as a parent, the thing
mm-hmm.
you can really reward. And then that might set the stairway, and then someone's got to walk it,
Yeah.
but at least then you have the options. You're kind of on your way, as you get to that, crucial young adult season.
Mm,
And yeah, sounds like you had a similar ethos around that in your
yeah.
household.
Yeah.